Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from My Stand Gamers, and welcome. So today I want to talk about defending your base on a multiplayer server. I'm going to show you a few different ideas, as well as talk to you about some great and really useful tips that'll help you survive and keep your gear for a little bit longer. Now, first off, the most key part of any base defense is layers. Now, I'm not just speaking layers of armor, I'm talking about how you're going to construct your actual outpost. Are you going to have turrets on the outer perimeter protecting, and then a layer of armor protecting your buildings, and then interior turrets? Or you're going to have something a little bit different. So before we go any further on that aspect, let's talk about the turrets that we've actually got in vanilla to defend ourselves. We've obviously got the Gatling gun, high rate of fire, great at eliminating players and soft targets. We've got the rocket turret, high amount of damage, a large blast, can eliminate fighters if it manages to actually achieve a direct impact. Then you've also got the interior turret. Now the interior turret is small, compact, great for corridors, but it doesn't pack the punch that the other two turrets do. Now let's talk about using this in sort of combination with a wall defense. Now most players, they will build a simple wall like this, and on the other side they'll have reactors, their assemblers, all the really important areas. Players will blast holes in it and then they'll enter. Now here's an alternative. Now doing a little bit of research, especially into World War I sort of tactics, if we actually have a look in here, we have ourselves a turret. You can see the turret is actually folded up in that little canister there. And the whole idea of this is if a player manages to cut a hole or damage his way through this segment, he is in the kill zone of this second turret layer. So as he enters into here, he feels like he's into some sort of base area. He's got another wall to go through, and he's also got that turret to deal with. So that's going to slow him down. It's going to buy you some more time to either respawn, get some more weapons online, and get yourself back into the fight to stop this attack. And if you're offline, this is very useful as well, because a lot of players are deterred when they meet a second wall and turrets like this. This can also be combined with a roof segment. So instead of just being a wall, you could have this on its side like that, and it would be a roof segment with a turret in it as well, just to deter them very nasty players. Now, talking about turrets on interior hallways, here is another alternative way of doing it. Now, you can see we have these off segments to the side that actually hold the turrets, and the whole purpose of these is players cannot see them as they are walking down the corridor. They move down the corridor, they move down it too fast, and they get engaged by the turret. Now once they realise that the first turret is tucked down into one of these side doors, they're going to be very precautious or taking the next turret onwards, and that's going to buy you some more time. Now if you're offline, these will eliminate the first wave of players as they just rush through, going for the closest door, putting a doorway or something at the end of the corridor. Even having a fake doorway with just a steel wall behind it will be enough to lure the player down the corridor into your death trap. Now let's talk a little bit more about keeping your supplies. Now yes, you could do whole different varieties of bases, and I'd like to know your favorite sort of base. Is it an underground base? Is it like a very high profile, high defended sort of base? Or is it something like this? Now this just looks like a wrecked sort of outpost. Someone's tried to build something and it got destroyed, and a player might have a quick look at it like this, go, yeah, there's nothing in it here any use, and they're not very likely to grind down the metal blocks, because metal blocks can be achieved just by doing a simple bit of mining. But underneath here, you could have a whole outpost and use this as an access port. Now you could also combine something like this with a system like this as well. You could have a false floor, false wall, and if we actually access this, actually before we access that, I'll show you just how seamless it is. So if that was a floor and this was a wrecked sort of outpost, you really can't tell the connection. Obviously you can see a little bit of sunlight, but if this was buried in the ground, you won't be able to tell at all that it was actually a fake wall. A player would simply run into this room, go, oh, it's a dead end. You might have a reactor or some cargo containers in here to be a little bit fake, just to kind of sell them a little bit of a fake story. And then once that is done, you can retract your wall backwards, and it can lead to a whole other section. It's a great way of storing ships, this, because if someone raids your hangar and you look like you haven't got many ships, or all your ships are actually being used while you're out, then your other backup sort of ships can be stored behind a wall like this. It's just a great way of preserving all the time and effort that you've poured into building different things. So just a simple piston on a similar sort of grid like that. Now, talking about supplies, if you've played Space Engineers as long as me, then you've took hours and hours gathering, mining, collecting, visiting some of the asteroids just to collect very rare items. So here's a little solution for you. Now, I want you to imagine that this is the actual outpost, and below here is an inaccessible section that is just completely off the base itself. It's disconnected, it's not got anything on the grid. If a player looks in the inventory of the base above, he will never find anything connected to the bottom, and if he destroys this container, he'll only find what's in it. Now what's great about this system is if you have a sensor set up like this, you can see there's a little sensor detected on there. This can detect hostile players, so if someone even sneaks in your base when you're offline, what it'll simply do is disconnect this connection point. So when you're online, you can have this activated, and if you forget to deactivate it, you can have it armed with the sensor. So say for instance, I'm a roaming player, I'm coming over, I'm going to loot this area, the sensor should pick me up and detach the actual connector, so all of my supplies are safe, hidden in this underground bunker. That's just an alternative. It's a great way of using or just keeping your resources on survival, because I've had so many players coming to me talking to me about they just keep losing things when they log off. People are raiding, people are scrapping their equipment and getting all their hard-earned loot and equipment. So there's just a few ideas to defend your base, and I'd love to hear a little bit more from you guys in the description below on just how you like to set up your bases. Do you like to have it very sort of high priority, or is it very important to you guys to have a base that's very stealth? Now in my opinion, I prefer a stealth base. If the enemy simply can't see you, then they're simply not going to be able to steal it. But anyway, whatever works for you. And it can be a little bit hard to have a small base when you want to build such a large capital ship to venture into the stars. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.